Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. WARZONE, aka Warzone, has been pretty interesting since Season 1 launched. Obviously, we've seen Rebirth Island thrown into the mix with a handful of different modes. We saw a slight map change to Verdansk, we got some Gulag updates, and of course, plenty of new weapons. And I'm just gonna throw it out there, the DMR is busted, it's stupid, but it's also not gonna last forever. And when it gets a reality check here pretty soon, people are gonna be looking for some new things to try out. And today, I got you covered as we are breaking down the best underrated weapons and loadouts to run here in Season 1. So if you enjoy the video at any point, let me know by dropping a like on it. And of course, if you're new to the channel, or if you're not already subbed, this is the place to be to stay on top of everything going on in COD. From news to intel to setups and everything else like that. So if you like what you see, feel free to subscribe and maybe even turn on those post notifications. Now, getting into the first underrated loadout, obviously this list is all about those underused weapons that really don't get a ton of attention, and the combination of the AS Val and the Cold War Tundra fall underneath that umbrella with ease. Both of these weapons I feel like are a bit underappreciated. The AS Val mainly because it's in the assault rifle category where obviously you have things like the M4A1, the Grau, the M13, the Kilo, the AMAX, all insanely good weapons, right? And then you have this assault rifle that is basically a really strong SMG that feels kind of like it's out of its element. But if you treat it almost like it is an SMG, then you're going to realize that the AS Val is actually insanely good for CQB fights. I mean, the TTK and the power that this thing brings to close range engagements is pretty spicy, to say the least. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the biggest magazine in the world, so you kind of have to be very efficient with what you have, but if you hit your shots, it's going to be a good time. Then for the Tundra, this thing is probably the best Cold War sniper that we have. I honestly severely underestimated this thing. It seems very, very easy to use with the bullet drop. There really isn't a ton, so predicting that really is not too much of a hassle. And I think it competes with the HDR and the AX50 all day long. It is a one-shot headshot. It's not super fast or super slow. All around, the Tundra is just a really decent sniper. So when it comes to the AS Val, here I'm running the 200mm OSA barrel for better range and velocity, the 5mW laser for better accuracy and mobility, the Merc foregrip for better control, the 30-round mags since that's the largest option available there. Kind of unfortunate, but you can make it work. And then finally, I've got the stippled grip tape for better mobility as well. Then for the Tundra, I've got the wrapped suppressor for better range, and of course this is also going to keep me off the radar when I shoot. Then I've also got the Combat Recon barrel for better bullet velocity. This is a huge part of making this a really, really good sniper, so definitely want to have that on there. I've also got the Infiltrator grip on there for better mobility, the Serpent Wrap for better mobility, and the Raider Pad stock for, you guessed it, better mobility. Then per usual for the perks and equipment, we've got EOD, Overkill, and Amped. I do also grab Ghost when I get that second loadout though. Then I've got the Semtex and the heartbeat sensor on there for the equipment, and all that stuff stays the same on every single one of my loadouts moving forward. Now, moving on to loadout number 2, this one is all about the Bullfrog SMG from Cold War, then also the Kar 98K. Honestly, you could also run the Tundra on here as well if you wanted to. I just prefer the Kar as like my main sniper, even though it's not as underrated. But when it comes to the Bullfrog, I would say this is one of the top SMGs in the game, and honestly, not that many people know about it. I mean, the damage this thing has is actually surprisingly good for an SMG. It has almost no recoil whatsoever. It has a pretty large magazine by default, and then it also has really good mobility as well. So it's kind of the complete package. Not to mention, if the MAC-10 and some of the other SMGs ever were to be adjusted, I could see the Bullfrog becoming a pretty consistent meta weapon. And of course, you guys already know the drill with the Kar. It is a spicy meatball if there ever was one. By far, it is my favorite weapon in the game for the mobility it has, alongside the one-shot headshot potential too. So using these two weapons on one class together gives you a lot of gunfight versatility and a lot of consistency as well. So on the Bullfrog, I am rocking the GRU suppressor for better range, the Liberator barrel for better velocity, the Spetsnaz grip for better control, the Serpent Wrap for better mobility, and then also the skeletal stock for more of the same. Then for the Kar, this is pretty much the normal setup as I would call it. We've got the monolithic suppressor, the 27.6-inch barrel, the tac laser, the variable zoom scope, then also the stippled grip tape to round things out there. Then getting into the third loadout for today, this one features the Type 63, then also the FENNEC SMG, a nice mix of Cold War and Modern Warfare, and two weapons that are definitely overshadowed by other weapons in their categories. Obviously, the Type 63 is a tac rifle, and the DMR currently has that category on lock without a doubt. Then for the SMGs, The MAC-10, the MP5, and the MP7 are pretty much running that, but both of these weapons are actually insanely good. The Type 63 is basically just like the DMR, however it has a bit more recoil, so that can kind of be a nuisance, but once you can get past that and sort of master that, the Type 63 is going to wreak havoc on anyone at any kind of range, just because this thing is so insanely powerful. Then the FENNEC actually got a buff a few weeks back to its range, so now it's going to be even better at a further distance, and this thing is kind of a melt machine up close. It definitely packs a punch, and its recoil really isn't all that bad considering the rate of fire, so I would say this thing is definitely being slept on currently. So for the Type 63, I've got the GRU silencer once more, the titanium barrel for better velocity, the Spetsnaz ergonomic grip for better control, fancy name with that one there. Then I also use the 38 round speed mag, and then finally the 3x optic, but that one comes down to preference. Now for the FENNEC, I've got the deadfall barrel, which is basically just like the monolithic integral suppressor. I've got the tack laser for speed and stability, the Merc foregrip, the 40 round drums, and then also sleight of hand. After that, loadout number 4 today is all about the Stoner 63, one of the Cold War LMGs. Probably the best Cold War LMG, at least in my opinion. This one can be paired with pretty much any secondary that we've talked about so far, or at least any of the SMGs rather. I'd stray away from a sniper with this one because this thing already has some pretty spicy range, and it also has the power as well. I mean, this thing hits like a truck. It doesn't really have any noticeable recoil either, so it is super easy to use. I think it honestly holds its own in the LMG category too for what it's worth. The PKM may be a slight bit better, but other than that, it is a pretty close battle. Now here I've got the agency suppressor yet again, the match grade barrel for better range, the field agent grip for better control, the 120 round speed mag for a bit more ammo then also a faster reload, then finally the millstop reflex or any other optic you might prefer more than that. Then for the last loadout today, this one is all about the AUG SMG from Modern Warfare. And I'd probably pair this one with any of the snipers that we talked about in this video, just to, I guess, balance out your range. Now the AUG is really good in two different ways. It's kind of interesting because of that fact. It can be good as an SMG, which is what it is by default. However, it can also be really good as an AR too if you do the whole ammo conversion. For this video though, I did use it as an SMG through the 9mm rounds, and it is a fantastic SMG at the end of the day. I mean, its mobility is decent, its range is pretty nice, and its TTK is great for close range fights. So here I'm currently running the monolithic suppressor, the 407mm extended barrel for better range and control, the 32 round mags, the icon itself, the Stippy Grippy, then also the comb stock for better mobility. So there you have it. With all of that being said, those are the best underrated loadouts to be using here in Season 1 of Warzone, and that is going to wrap things up for today. If you enjoyed the video, or if you just found it helpful, let me know by dropping a like on it. And, of course, if you're new here and you want to stay up to date with the latest Call of Duty news, intel, updates, setups, and pretty much everything else in between, feel free to subscribe with your notifications turned on. That way you'll always know whenever I upload a new video. As always, if you want to check out any of my partners, be sure to use code WhosImmortal for a spicy discount on all Scuff, G Fuel, and Control Freak products, and the links for all of that can be found down in the description below. But once again, thanks so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.